A lot of people, I would say most, still struggle with how to organize their files. This is the thing, probably one of the first things people should have learned about when they were using a computer, but a lot of people just never learned, honestly. So in this video we're going to create a document and we're going to save it somewhere, and I'll show you how to find it as it moves around, as I move it around. On the bottom of your screen is the taskbar, and on the taskbar is File Manager. It looks like a yellow manila envelope. When you first open Task Manager, it will show you your most recent files and your frequently visited folders here. And on the left side, your computer is divided into things you want to get access to quickly. You can see this little caret symbol that I can click to sort of open up that section like a family tree. That signifies that that stuff is all stored together, right? So the OneDrive folder is where most people in the modern day should be keeping their files, because this green check mark signifies that they're being backed up to the cloud. That's another lesson for another day. And then before we had the cloud, we kept everything on this PC. A lot of people still do this, all right? So when you open the little caret symbol next to this PC, for many people, this is the list of folders that they most often access. Now, this is by no means all of the folders on your computer. There are many, many, many folders on your computer, and they're organized in the signified by the C drive. Is your on all Windows computers, it's usually labeled C, which is called your hard disk drive or solid state disk. And in here is somewhere you probably shouldn't go unless you know what you're doing, but this is where all of your folders are actually stored. This is how your computer is organized. We've got a lot of things that don't mean anything, but a lot of your programs are in here, and this is not where you delete your programs. This is just the folders that are created for them. In the Windows folder is a lot of things that you just don't want to touch unless you know what you're doing. But the users folder is the one that contains the folders that you're actually looking at right here: documents, music, pictures, videos. These here are mostly just shortcuts to what is already located deep in your C drive under users. Mine is called users, but yours would have your name on it probably. And then in here we can go all the way down, but you see how many clicks I have to do to get to this documents folder here. This is why they make these little shortcuts up top here, because they don't really want you messing around or having to deal with going deep into all these folders to get to where you're going. So we have this set of, I'll call them shortcuts for now, but it's just a quick way to get to your documents folder without having to go deep into all those folders. So when you open up this PC, for most people it's just documents, music, pictures, and videos. Actually, for most people, honestly, it's documents and pictures, okay? So when you create a document and save it, you should be saving it into the documents folder. A lot of people, you'll notice, will save things to the desktop. I'm going to hit the minimize button here on this File Explorer window, and this whole thing here is called the desktop. Yes, you can store your documents here, but it's not very tidy. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but if you want to be organized, your documents and your pictures should be in their proper folders, in my opinion. Okay, so now I'm going to use a free word processor that's built into Windows 10 to create a test document and save it to the computer. and then I'm going to move it around and show you how to figure out exactly where it is and how to find it. I don't have WordPad down here on the taskbar, but I'm going to go find it on your computer. I'm going to click the Start button right here. And I know WordPad is in here somewhere, but instead of looking for it, I can just type the name Word. And here it is. WordPad comes up. Instead of clicking on it, which would launch it, I'm going to pin it both to the Start menu and also to the taskbar down below, so that I'll have quick and easy access to it. So here it is on the taskbar down below, and alternatively, if I click the Start button, I can find WordPad here on the Start menu, and I can also move it around here. We'll teach you to use WordPad another day, but when I click on WordPad, it's just a simple word processor that comes with Windows 10. A lot of people would use Microsoft Word, or they're creating documents somehow on a spreadsheet, or however you do it. But I'm going to create a simple test document, and I'm going to save it. And this is where a lot of people get stuck when they go to save a document. Right now this document does not have a name. It's just called document, as you can see up here in the title bar. But if I want to give it a name and save it, you would go click on File in the upper left corner, and you would go Save As. I'm just going to click on Save As, and it will by default create a document. And here's the name of it. By default is document. Okay, so if I drag the mouse and highlight that, I can delete it, or I can use the backspace key to get rid of this name, and I'll call it test document. And if I were to just hit the save button right now, how do I know where it is? Okay, well, you're getting a lot of hints here on the left side. What's highlighted is, this PC is already opened up for you, and they've got documents highlighted. That's one way to tell where it's going, and it's also another way for you to put it where you want it. Okay, up here at the top, this is called the path name. Okay, so you can tell just by looking up top that we are currently in the documents folder, which is located in this PC. So when I click the save button right here, you're going to see the document is saved. I can see now up top it says test document. This is the name of the document at the top in the title bar of WordPad. And if I close WordPad down, now how do I find that document? Well, many people would just go right back to the word processor, and when they open it up, it's at a blank page, but you have a command you can access in the upper left. You can open a file, click on the word file. In many programs, they will automatically list your most recently created documents right here. But to actually go through all the steps to open that document, instead of cheating and doing it the easy way here, I'm going to click on File and then Open, and it's going to take me to my mini little file manager here, and it's already got me in the documents folder because that's where I was last, and there is the document called test document. And then I just click on it to highlight it once. Click right here to highlight it, and then click open, and up comes the simple test document that I created. And then if I want to make a couple of changes and save it again, well, I don't have to click File, Save As, because Save As is to give it a name. Honestly, it's to take an existing document and create a name for it while you're saving it. I've already named this document, so I can just save the changes I've already made to it by clicking on Save. And then I can close it. Another way I can find that document is to come down here to the taskbar and hover right over the icon for WordPad, and I can actually click with the right mouse button once, and it will have a list of the most recent documents that I created right there. I can even hit that little push pin right there to permanently pin a document to the list, so I can always access it. So those are a couple of ways of getting back to your document. The more organized way, or the way so that you understand how and where your files are, is to use File Explorer. So I'm going to click on the yellow folder, File Explorer, and it's going to have test document listed under recent files, obviously. It also tells you the path to the file name. It's telling you where this document is located, okay? It's in this PC, and they use a backslash to tell you that there's a subfolder called Documents. This second one I created earlier is in the OneDrive folder, this one here, in the folder called Documents. So it's nice to be able to click your recent files here, but it's better to, for understanding where they actually are, to click to the path name to see it, right? So if I click on this PC and then click on Documents, well, this is the actual location of the document right there. That's it. It's pretty simple. And if you always keep all your documents in the Documents folder, well, then you won't be searching all over your computer to find them. That's the trouble a lot of people get into when they start creating files and folders and then putting them all over the desktop. Because then they just don't, why not put it in the Documents folder and everything is sorted alphabetically, or you can sort things by date, or however you want. Much easier to find them. Now I can take this test document and I can just hold my left mouse button down and I can put it on the desktop. You see, it's even telling me that it's going to move the file, so it's going to take it from where it is and move it to the desktop. And now next time I go to the file manager and I click on this PC, Documents, well, there's nothing in there because I moved it over there. So how would I find it? Obviously I can see it right here, but let's say I couldn't see it and I didn't know where that file was. That's the desktop folder right here. Will actually show you there's test document, right? So that's where it is, and you can move stuff around. If I want to put it back in the Documents folder, I can take it from here with the left mouse button held down and I can drag it. I can try to come over here to put it in the Documents folder this way, but that's a pretty small target. I know I'm already in Documents here, as I can see, because it says it in the path name up top, and it's even telling me right in the little box there, move to Documents, so I can just move it back to Documents. So you can pick files up, and which is called dragging and dropping, and you can move them around. You be careful doing this, because you might accidentally drop it into one of these and not know where it went, that kind of thing. But that's how you move a document around. Another useful thing about File Manager is the ability to create folders. So if I click on File Manager, by the way, I would just ignore this section here. I wouldn't go opening your documents from here for now until you fully understand where your files are located. I usually encourage people to click on the actual folder where it's located to really drill into your head where your stuff is. So by clicking on the left side of the folder here, of the left side of File Manager, in the beginning, until people understand where their stuff is, I usually try to tell them to click click over here to actually locate the actual location of the documents, instead of relying on the recent files list that comes up here. I mean, once you understand how everything works and where everything's located, you can do whatever you want. But for now, I'm going to click over on the left side under this PC. I'm going to click on the Documents folder, and I've got a bunch of documents here. And they're organized by name, so they can be organized alphabetically. If you look up here at the top of the column, you see here they're separated into different columns here. The name column, if I click it, it will organize, depending on how many times I click it, by alphabet. So A to Z or Z to A. And then the little arrow means your ascending order, and this is descending order, this little arrow. Okay. And if I wanted to do it by date, these are all created on the same date, but I could click here to click by date as well, and I can click by file size. I think alphabetically is a good way to go for most people. If you can just remember the names of your files, and people that have a hard time remembering their most recent documents, a lot of times they'll click over here to sort these documents by date. Anyway, so sometimes when you create a massive amount of documents, it makes sense to create a folder to put them in. I mean, we're already in a folder called Documents, and we can actually create folders within the Documents folder. So, for example, I've got 4 documents called Test, and they're kind of taking up some space here. So what if I created a folder in here just for the test documents? And that would sort of clean things up a little bit and organize things a little bit. So to create a folder, the right mouse button is incredibly capable in Windows 10, and believe it or not, if I just right click here, I can click on new folder. I can do it that way. However, or I could right click right on the documents folder and go new folder. But maybe the standard way would be to come up here to the top and click on home to sort of open up this ribbon here, and then you'll see a command right here for a new folder. So whichever way you want to rely on. I personally would have right clicked, but I'm going to click on new folder right here, and you can see that now instead of we've got a different icon here. It's yellow representing a folder, and they already name it by default new folder. They've already got it highlighted in blue, and they're just waiting for you to start typing a name. You don't have to click anywhere, just start typing, and I'll call it test docs. Okay, and then if I click out of here, that saves the name of the folder. By the way, if you click once on any one of these names and then click again, it allows you to rename a folder or a file. That's another one people have trouble with. If I click once on resume and then just click a second time on the word, I can now change the name of that file. That's a neat trick that everybody should know about too. Now when we sort, now if I close this, I haven't moved anything around yet, but if I close this and open it back up, you're going to see that it's going to automatically sort the list of files and folders by alphabet. So if I click on the yellow folder at the bottom, File Manager, and then I come over to Documents, you'll see that now the folder Test Docs is at the top of the list, and underneath it begins our individual WordPad documents that I've created. Folders, when you list files and folders together, they will always put the folders at the top of the list, right? So if I click on this again to sort from the bottom up, it's going to put the folders at the bottom. I think the default, or I know the default is that it will always put the folders on top. Anyway, I've got a folder called Test Docs here, and interestingly, you can click around inside this window here, but it's good to know how to navigate also by the left side of the window. The caret symbol to the left of Documents will always open up whatever's underneath Documents, and you can see now I have a Test Docs folder located underneath the Documents folder. It's called a subfolder. This folder here and this folder here are the same folder. If I click right on the folder here, it'll show me what's in the folder over here. So there's nothing there because I haven't put anything there yet. Okay? So when I click back on Documents, I can see these are the individual documents that are in the Documents folder, and if I want to take one of them and move it into the Test Docs folder, I can drag it over to here, or I can drag it up to here. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. And when I drop it in there, I can see it in there by either double clicking this one here, or I prefer to work from the left side. I click Test Docs, and now there it is. Okay. Now I want to move the remainder of the documents over there, so I can do them individually, or I can start in an empty space here and hold the mouse down. I can draw a little box over those 3 files to select them all at the same time. You can also, if you're very careful and click slowly, you can hold the Control key on your keyboard while you're clicking to select more than one file at a time. So I'm going to do it my way, which is to start in the empty white space here and just hold the left mouse button down to select all three of those. I'm going to let go. They're selected. Now I can reach anywhere inside the selection here to pick them up, and I can drop them in the test docs folder, and that's it. You've now learned to create files in the documents folder and folders in the documents folder, or a subfolder. So test docs is a subfolder of the documents folder, and it's grouped together using this little caret symbol here, just like kind of like a family tree. So there's another section of File Manager that you should understand, and it's I'm going to collapse this PC to make a little room here. It's quick access. Okay, quick access exists for the purpose of getting quick access to any folder that you'd like. They tend to pile a few too many things in here, honestly, and they tend to automatically put things in here that you don't want in there. Like, I didn't want test docs in there. I certainly didn't put it there. There's a little setting we can change to make it so that it doesn't automatically put things in. I'm going to click File and then Change over here, and I'm going to uncheck this box here that says Show Frequently Used Folders in the Quick Access folder. That's just a dumb setting, and I'm going to uncheck that box and get rid of it. So the only thing that will show up in the Quick Access folder is what I want to put there. Okay, by default they put these four in there, and that makes sense. You know, your downloads, your desktop, the documents, and the pictures. Okay. As you graduate to learning how to keep your files in a cloud folder, and Windows 10's cloud folder is called OneDrive, you may start to have all kinds of subfolders and things and want to have quick access to those. For now, I'm not going to use OneDrive as the example. I'm going to go back to this PC, and if you remember, under the Documents folder, we created a subfolder called Test Docs. Well, you might have all kinds of subfolders, and you can even create folders within folders, like Test Docs. You could have a subfolder in there, for example. To get, so you don't have to constantly go looking for a particular folder. Let's say you have I want to access these documents routinely this week, and I don't feel like going around looking for it. You can take this test docs. I can right click on it, and if you look at near the top, it'll say pin to quick access. Now that doesn't move the folder at all. It just makes it more readily available under the quick access menu, so that I don't have to go diving too deep to find it by navigating around. And that's it. So when I click on Test Docs, here's just quick access to that folder. If I want to then remove this at some point so that I don't crowd up my quick access folder, I can right click here and unpin it from quick access like that. So it's a very handy way. Once you have lots of folders, it's a very handy way to pin only folders, not files, so that you have quick access to them. I would encourage you to practice this stuff before playing around with your actual files. So create test documents, create test folders, and learn how to pick them up and move them around. I'm going to move test docs folder right onto the desktop here. And I often actually put folders on the desktop originally, and then so that I can see them first thing when I first turn on the computer. I don't store them there permanently. I think you just make a mess of things eventually, but I've moved test docs folder here, and now its actual location is on the desktop. And if I click on the desktop under this PC desktop, there it is, test docs, right? Well, I want to put it back where it belongs, which is in the documents folder. I'm just going to pick it up and move it there. And then I'll sort the list from A to Z here. So practice with files and folders. make mistakes with stuff that doesn't matter until you finally learn how everything works. I know this video was kind of long, but sometimes I just want to explain everything the right way. I'll have to work on shortening these up. I get a lot of people asking me how they can put their documents folder on the desktop here. Some reason I don't encourage that, but yes, you can do it. I don't encourage it because I think people should actually reach for their documents folder where it is, which is in File Manager. Anyway, yeah, I can take this documents folder right here, and if I drag it over, you'll notice by default, because these folders cannot be manipulated too much, you can only create a shortcut. I can't actually move that documents folder from where it is. I can create a shortcut to it. And using the shortcut, if I close File Manager here, this will get me directly to my documents. There they are. That's a quick way to do that. But then, the more shortcuts you create, next thing you know, you're going to have your desktop all cluttered up, and I don't know, what's the point of that, other than being a pack rat, a digital pack rat, we call you. Any shortcut you create, anything that has an arrow on it, can be put into the recycle bin, and you will not be deleting the actual folder, just the shortcut. As you can see, the documents folder is still here. You can create a shortcut to any folder or any file. A great alternative to using the left mouse button is, if I was to try to take tennis club notes and just drag it over with the left mouse button, it's going to move it by default. A neat trick is to use the right mouse button. So if I right click and hold on tennis club notes and drag it, when I let go, it's going to give me a choice to copy, move, or create a shortcut. And I want to create the shortcut because I don't want this document leaving its actual home. So there it is, tennis club notes, and when I double click it, it'll take me to the actual document, which happens to be blank. So I can delete the shortcut when I'm done with it, and then I know that everything's still where it is in the documents folder. That is the short, quick, dirty explanation of shortcuts. Searching for files in File Explorer is pretty simple. Open File Explorer, and then what you want to do is narrow your search down as much as possible to a particular folder. I know I taught you to search this entire computer by clicking this PC, but I would avoid that when you're just searching for a specific document and you're pretty sure it's in the Documents folder. So there's a document called What is Notepad that I'm searching for. So I'm just going to type in what is, and as you can see, it starts to guess for me what I'm looking for. But I would avoid that because you want to really just keep going and type out what you're looking for, and hit the Enter key on the keyboard or the arrow key right here, and that will actually perform a search of all your files instead of sort of relying on what it thinks you want. So here's the document it found. Here's the path name that you learned. It's in the C drive, Users, User, Documents folder, so that's how you know where to find it. And when I click on the Documents folder, I mean, I could open the document up by double-clicking right here, obviously, but in teaching you what a path name is, it's in the User document, so it's in the Documents folder here. And if I scroll down, I could have found it, alphabetically, because I knew it began with a W. Let's say you're searching for a document, but you don't know the name of it, but you think you know a word that's inside the document. So I think the word planted is inside the document somewhere, and if I hit enter after typing it, it should search all these files, and then it will highlight that yes, it found this sentence with this word in this file, What is Notepad. So I found the file. I know where it is because I know what a path name is. It's in the Documents folder, and that is how you search for files effectively. So to cancel this search, I can come up here to the ribbon and it says close search, obviously. Sometimes this ribbon isn't visible, so sometimes you have to click on this little caret symbol there to open the ribbon up. But we could also just keep that ribbon closed, and I could cancel the search just by clicking back on the documents folder.